Hello everyone, it's First Impressions review time, and today we're going to be looking at Forsaken Fortress Strategy. This game is an indie game available on Steam, and it's a squad-based survival game with all the necessities such as crafting, building, survival, scavenging, and of course combat. The game itself is very entertaining but also very challenging, and it is very graphically pleasing. Developers so far for this early access game are doing spot on in my opinion. So when you get into this actual game, you can have three different modes: survival, challenge and endless. Survival mode is the one that I'll be playing, see if we can survive those 20 days. Challenger mode is just see if you can get out, and endless is obviously survival but without an end date, see how far you can actually survive. At the start you get to pick 2 out of 6 people, each with their own skill sets, and each being able to do certain tasks. So for example, if somebody's good at trading, it won't cost you as much to trade. If someone's good at scavenging, they'll scavenge and find things faster than people that won't. When you start the game, you are in a safe zone. This is your home base, so to speak. You start with a bed that needs building, your standard factory where you upgrade to unlock other items, and your inventory. Now, once you actually start scavenging and finding things, what you'll notice is that you'll now be able to build different things, and when you build different items, you will then be able to make certain things. So for example, one of the first things you probably want to focus on is building your bed so you can sleep and recover. After that, you probably want to look at ways to make food. So there's a combination of different items such as the well to produce water, and then you have the kitchen to use to make food, which requires different materials. All the different materials are stored in your inventory, and some of them are usable and equipable. So for example, if you're feeling sick, you may want to take some medication. If you're injured from a fight, you may want some bandages. And if you have got progressed into the game pretty far, you might start making weapons or guns. One part of this game which I really like, especially if you, because there's no real introduction, it's basically here you go, boom, do it. What you get is the ability to have a look at the survival guide. Now this goes into quite a lot of detail explaining how to do certain tasks and what to expect from the game. The camera movement is pretty fluid in this. You just use your left and right click to move around, and if you hold down your middle mouse wheel you can scroll the camera around. You can use WASD to move the camera as well. You have a mini map in the bottom right hand corner, and that will show you green and red dots, green being good guys, red being bad guys. This is your world map where you can select different areas. There'll be some friendly areas, not a lot bearing in mind. There'll be some areas that also contain lots of rich resources, but you will have to fight for them, and there's some really difficult areas which I haven't even attempted to explore yet because they just say insane, and I'm looking at my guys with pretty much standard clothing, no items, no nothing. It's like, right, okay, well, I'm gonna die if I go there. One of the main things to point about this game as well is that if your main characters die, it's not the end, it's the end if your entire squadron dies. So if one of your members gets killed but you still got 2, you can either choose to use first aid on that member, or you can leave them. If you leave them, they are no longer in your party and you will need to recruit other members. There does seem to be a limitation on the amount of members that you can have. On this version, we can only access 3 different members at one type. I did look at the 1.01 patch notes, I think. That allows you to have 6, which makes it a lot easier in terms of progressing through the game. However, you have to be careful because if you have 6 members, that's double the amount of free, so that means double the amount of food, beds, etc., needing to keep them happy. This is one of the areas where we've got zombies. Now, I highly recommend you play the game at night. Going through it the morning or when it's light, you're just asking for trouble. At night, you can sneak around. The controls for sneaking around are very easy. You just press C to crouch, and E is to attack. So when you think you're ready to attack the zombies, you press E, you run at them. This is probably the only point where I'd want to make a little criticism, is the actual hitbox of the enemy is an absolute pain to hit, especially if you've got multiple enemies. You've got your group selected, and the enemy itself, it's very hard to select, especially if you're close to him. You'll find that you end up running in circles. Now, I'm not too sure how to remedy that. Maybe make the hitbox a bit wider on the zombies or the men, and that'll make it a lot more effective, or allow us the ability when it goes to combat mode, which is a different type of mode. You'll see it here, battle begins, the enemy lights up red. It might be useful to maybe have a box like you have for your characters on the side, so you can actually just click that box and that's what you want to attack. Make it a bit easier. As you can see, if you don't click the actual enemy, you don't actually hit them. Now, one of the main things you have to be cautious about here as well is your ability to fight. Now, some people will have combat strength, others will have abilities where they're good with guns or good with weapons. If you pick a character that's not good with weapons or is unarmed, you may die. As you can see here, if you die, it's game over, because as you can see on the left hand side, I've got no other characters in this game. So this was my first attempt getting familiar with it, figuring out what's going on, and as you can see, it's light as well. So again, if it was in the dark, I could have potentially crouched and snuck around and just scavenged like normal, but now I'm struggling. You can see right at the bottom left under my logo, you can actually see the health of the character as well. That gives you a nice indication to see how long you've got left before you die. Also, if you do die and you revive your characters, there is a chance that they'll be depressed. Now, in terms of increasing the morale, you can give them alcohol, food, etc. It just takes time to grind. And if they're depressed or tired or not feeling well, their progress in the game will actually slow. They'll start walking slow, they'll start not being able to do anything, so it gives a feeling attachment to it, so it gives you that extra boost to make sure you keep all your members happy. So this is the first impression. So far it's highly positive. There you go, I died. I am enjoying this game. It is taking me quite a while to churn through it. I do want to complete the survival, and hopefully I'll have that for the full review. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.